Good morning, good evening, good night, everyone from all over the world. We are here with this awesome guys from 3 different countries, at Brazil, of course. We are here with India, with Israel, and also with Mexico to talk about their ecosystems and the differences between all of them. So we have game developers make awesome games all over the world, and we have this brave organizers that are making this event happens in very different places. So for those who don't know me, I'm Pedro Zambon. I am a researcher, a consultant on market intelligence in game industry. I have my PhD around development of the game industry, and I am very happy to be called here from the Game Jam Plus to be our mediator in this debate around the importance of Game Jam Plus and this kind of events, collaborative events, to foster the development of local ecosystems. So for us to start, let's introduce these cool people around here. Please, I think we can start with Ido Adler from Israel. If you can introduce you, who are you, and your motivation behind, especially behind taking on this responsibility on organizing Game Jam Plus in your place. So tell us more about you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ido. I'm a game developer from Israel. I'm usually developing with Unity. I've been in a few medium-sized companies in Israel, and I would like to see the indie companies in Israel become bigger and more influential in our games, and I do feel that we can learn a lot about the indies community, can learn a lot about the business side, pitching, thinking about more commercially about your games, which I feel this jam gives you. So this is why I decided to try to push this in my country.
My mic is off. I'm talking here with my mic off. It's something that I always do in our lives, so sorry for that. Sandra, next on, let's talk with you. And who are you? Saludo, Sandra. And why you decided to organize Game Jam Plus in Mexico?
Well, hi everyone. My name is Sandra. I'm from Mexico, and I was since I was a little girl, I always felt really attracted to video games. I'm a game developer, and at a very young age, I decided that I wanted to make video games for a living. So that's what I'm doing now. And to make it's my first time in Game Jam Plus. So thank you for the invitation. And this is a great opportunity to put Mexico in the global radar, because even though we are a country that consumes a lot of video games, but in the developer side, we are really we're just making baby steps yet. There are a lot of studios, but we are not like other countries that are already development AAA games. So this is a perfect opportunity to put Mexico besides other countries, and to know each other and collaborate, right? So that's why I decided that it was a really great opportunity. And thank you for the invitation.
That's great. And Bhuvanesh, please introduce yourself and tell us about your motivation behind this.
Okay, so I am a game designer. I've been working, I guess, since the past 2 years now. And I would say the primary motivation behind doing the whole thing was to kind of build a community for the new coming, generation of game developers, designers, artists, whoever, and kind of give them a platform to connect, to communicate with, mentors or maybe us or maybe the local people so that they can share their ideas, make games together, and it gives them a place to where they can basically communicate together to form something better. So that's like the primary motivation of doing Game Jam Plus for me and for the organizers that we have in India.
Okay. So thank you, Bhuvanesh. We are waiting, seeing if Tanu can fix their cam. So we're gonna continue and hope that she can come back with us. So let's continue with our conversation. And well, let's start spinning around with Bhuvanesh again. Talking about your local scene. So I'm very curious to understand and know how is the scene of game development in India. India is not a country, it's a continent. It's 1 billion people around. There is a lot of, it's a very interesting market on as consumers, but also very rich culture. So tell us more about the game dev scene in India. There is a lot of students, game design graduation. There is big companies, small companies. How is the indie dev scene? Let us understand more how about this scene.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, India is pretty much a continent. We have our own market at this point, but I'd say India is excelling very much in the mobile market field, but we are not on par in terms of either indie and AAA. I would say is currently non-existing in India at the least. But in terms of mobile games, there are big companies. There are companies from abroad that have set up over here. There's Sigga, there's Yuzu. There are many companies over here, and yes, so the primary, what do I say, go-to for an Indian, if I am a developer slash designer who has entered this field, the options that I have are generally mobile. So for someone who's very much into indie or very much into AAA, it's kind of a leap of faith where they have to either choose to do it on their own, build a company with their friends, start making small games and get along from there, or pursue a job abroad possibly, because India is majoritarily dominated by the mobile market. So that's pretty much the ecosystem, and it's good. Like, yeah. So it's a huge market. There are a lot of possibilities, and a lot of potential. I think the only thing that I personally feel about where the Indian market kind of lacks is that we have so much of rich culture, we have so much of diversity in amongst ourselves, but we are kind of not able to pull that out on per se an indie or a AAA platform, or even actually on a mobile platform. Because I think we are a very new to the whole thing. My generation is possibly a generation where I think that the change is possible, but for the previous generations, they are still new to the idea of video game being a salaried job or being something that pays you out with. For them, it's a very new concept, and they, try to avoid it. But it's growing. It's growing slowly and slowly. Someday, hopefully, in the coming future, we'll be having. We are soon going to have our own indie game that's coming from India. This game named Raji, which is a big thing for India itself, and I think that for me is like a big thing, because that might be the tipping point where India might enter the indie market as well. Because I don't think we right now are at a point where we can say we are competing in the indie market, let alone the AAA. But yeah, mobile we have a lot.
That's interesting. Just so if you are seeing the screen little messy, don't worry, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna continue to talking, but for you to understand here, the screen kind of be mixed in the live chat, but it's okay. Yeah. We're gonna fix it. Bhuvanesh, introducing now Tanu for our conversation. I don't know if you prefer to call it Tanishka or Tanu. I don't know if there's any difference. We can hear you. Just we need to unmute your.
Yeah, so like my full name is Tanishka, but usually I've been known as Tanu everywhere.
Oh, perfect. So we are talking about the game scene, the game development scene in India. Bhuvanesh introduced us that mainly the game development in India is around mobile games. So the indie dev scene or more AAA dev scene is something that doesn't happen often. But I want to know more about the community itself. Who usually engages in community in events or meetups or this kind of stuff? What is the what is the profile of these people that are getting together and collaborating, and also around it, the importance of this collaboration and this community to develop the ecosystem in your town and your country?
Okay. So basically, like every year, we have this Unite India conference, which is held by Unity. And also we have the Indian Game Developer Conference. Usually it is together. Like if one day it's Unite India, the other day we have Indian Developer Conference. So it's like where everyone around the city, like from each different states and city, gather in one particular city, and this is how new connections and networking in gaming industry happens. It's not just that, it's like more of people like students like us, we make games and upload it on Twitch where we get awards, prizes, even the indie studios. So through these conferences, we build a community. Like even though if we don't build, if we don't get prizes, we get to showcase our games in general. Then we have just small game jams held in our colleges, like in my college specifically, as I come from a game development background. So the small game jam things happen, and also one game jam is called the global game jam, which happens everywhere globally. And this Game Jam Plus is something different happening overall globally. So I'm really glad to be part of it. Thanks to you guys for that.
We are very happy too. I'm very excited to know more games from India and understand more the scene. I never know anyone from India before that making games, so it's really cool to have you here. And let's pass forward to another side of world. Let's talk with Sandra. Sandra, well, you said in your introduction that Mexico consumes a lot of games. Mexico and Brazil are very close as the first.
Along with Brazil, yeah, we are the top consumers
top consumers of games in Latin America. But as well in Brazil, we consume a lot of games. But as game developers, we of course have a indie dev scene, a game development scene, big companies of mobile, but comparison with the driving of consuming games in Brazil is very baby steps, as you said. Yeah. But tell us more about this game dev scene. It's a lot about mobile, a lot about indies. There is a little bit about everything. There is good indie game companies. Tell a little bit about the scene in here.
Here in Mexico, there's a lot of interest in video games, as as a gamer and as a developer. In the past few years, we have seen a really increase of studio video games here in Mexico. We are not many yet, but we are around 150 studios, more or less, in all Mexico. And as I said before, I'm a game developer. We have a studio. We have a studio, video games and apps here in the north of Mexico, in the border of the U.S. And my generation grew with video games, and I think that it's a really special thing for us to, when we start to develop, to help the youngest generations to accomplish that goals of making video games. That's why a few years ago we started an initiative called Indies Mexico, in which we started to make events where people can show the project, the video games. People can play it and get to know each other, right? Because that's the way that we could help grow a community. Because like 4 or 5 years ago, we not meet each other. Did you ask people in the street, do you know video games, Mexican video games? And nobody knew that Mexico was in the industry, right? So, like I said before, we are still making baby steps, but there's more and more interest with events and things like this, like jams, that things are going to change, right? So we can grow a solid industry like here in Mexico. But here's a lot of interest in
there is any national meetup or something like that?
Well, our events are national in Mexico. This year, unfortunately, we couldn't make it happen. But when we saw the invitation of GameJam+, it was a great opportunity, and we are hoping that the next year.
What's the name of the event in Mexico?
Indies Mexico.
Indies Mexico. I hope I can after this pandemic I can know much more about the Indies Mexico. I never heard about this event. We have here a big festival. It's our annual gathering of industry in the same place. It's very cool. So let's go to the middle term between India and Mexico in the globe. Let's talk with Israel. Well, it's not a big country in territory, but there is, I know there is a very driving and interesting scene of development in Israel. So tell us more about Israel as in the game development scene. What kind of companies are in here? If there is a lot of graduation, or tell us about this context in Israel.
So the biggest fields of games in Israel are the hyper casual games and the social casino games. We are very strong in both those areas, and this happens so that makes us strong in mobile games in general. Also, like we heard in India, we have almost I would say most of the successful companies in Israel are doing mobile games. Not all of them do social casino and hyper casual. There are apps for kids or other types of games, but very strong mobile games industry. In Israel, we don't get support from the country for game developments, but we do get it for innovative hardware. So this is another field that exists in Israel. So you can find VR or mixed reality companies or health equipment, games companies. So this is also a field that is supported by the country, so it's grow. And there are many students and we have, I think, 4 or 5 universities that allow you to study game development. So we have many students and big in this community that starts to grow, and we have some Steam games and that comes from there. And because we are a small country, all of those people that I talked about meet together in meetups, and we have the biggest meetup is gathered by an organization called Game Israel. So, but there are many communities for Unity, for Blender, for every specific field. You can find communities and people from all levels. People from $1 million companies meet students that just graduated and can learn from each other and encourage each other. It's very supportive community.
Oh, sorry. That's really great because, well, as you said, it's a very small country in territorial perspective, but is a big country as a development scene. There's a lot of things going on. I meet some developers from Israel in events around the world, and I see, it's a very interesting scene. And as you said, territory as a territory is small, it's easier to meet up, it's easier to catch up with another developers. So for you, what's the importance of this scene of collaboration and the community itself to develop the ecosystem? What's the importance of these meetings, to know everyone and to catch up and this kind of stuff?
You ask me?
Yes, I'm asking you either.
So I think one of the problems that we do have here is that our knowledge is limited to our borders. We're a small country, so getting connections from around the world is very important for us to grow. And now with the corona, and no one goes out to conventions anymore, so this is even more important to find the ways to do the connections in the virtual world. So this is one aspect that I think we can really use in those times. And the other aspect is, like I say, there are a lot of there is a growing indie community here, and those people are driven by passion. But in order to get to the next level, in order to be able to hold it and make it go larger, we have to establish a strong economical insight, or at least we need to think about how, not just do at the moment the thing I want to do, and to learn how I can sustain myself doing it for the long term, so we can increase the level of products that we come up with. That's what I believe. You muted?
I'm always doing it. What's wrong with me today? So taking a question from Ian Hoshlin from the chat, the organizer, global organizer of GameJam+. Do you know, Ido, how many companies in game dev scene in Israel, or so then a round number of how many companies there are in there?
No, I'm not sure. I will try to look up this information while you interview others.
Okay, great. I'm just curious about it. So let's continue. We are talking about collaboration, the peculiarities of the ecosystem. we know that making games and selling games is very close in every part of the world. We are selling games in international marketplaces. We are buying games from international marketplaces. All the games are in English or some language that we can understand. But around all these peculiarities, you all say the idea with getting together a community, the importance of it, the motivation behind assuming the responsibility to organize GameJam Plus. For you, all of you talk about develop the scene, make people know each other, network, and this kind of stuff. So giving the word back to Sandra, in this context of developing the local ecosystem, what's the importance of an event like GameJam Plus, and especially about GameJam Plus? What is unique in GameJam Plus as an event that can help the development of ecosystem in Mexico?
Well, I think that is really important because we can connect with other people in the world that have different cultures, and we can learn about it. Not only for video games and in general, it's a really enrichment experience. To say something, I mean, it's really important to know another cultures, another way of thinking. And that way we can we get to know each other, and we can know what people in Brazil and Israel and India are doing, and here in Mexico, because these kind of events connect people, right? And we can learn a lot from each other. And I think that's really important, not only video games, I mean in general.
Yeah.
In general, to have this type of connection and events, it's really, really nice.
And you said a word that I think is very important when we're talking about events like GameJam Plus. It's knowledge. It's about knowledge and sharing our knowledge, learning new stuff. So passing the word to Bhuvanesh and to Tanu to talk around India. Why decide to organize an event like GameJam Plus, and the importance of this event to India? What do you think about it, and what do you think that what your expected impact of GameJam Plus in your community?
Bhuvnesh, can I speak, or would you like to go first?
You speak.
Okay. So what I think is, it's a great opportunity because it's like we are organizing. We are just a fresher. Like, we have just gotten into industry. The first main thing is like we have experienced it, and now we are becoming a part of this organizer. So this is a really good thing. Like, you guys approached us. So you guys even told that, no need of experiencing. Through this, we might experience how the system works. And like Sandra said, networking. Like, I agree to the point, like networking is really important, at least in this century for me. And through this Game Jam event, it's like Game Jam Plus is not just only focusing about making a game, a prototype in 54 hours, but also how would you sell it, whether it's a fresh person who's just entering into game industry and just want to experience it to Game Jam, or a experienced level person who just want to make a game just to see how it works. But the thing is, like, this is a platform where you get to connect with the publisher, even if you don't win, but at least you get a self confidence of presenting. And I guess many of us would have ideas, but the thing is, we hesitate to present it. So through this platform, I feel is like we'll get that confidence level inside us to present our ideas and actually know, like, and actually be more confident about what game we are making instead of doubting ourselves. So yeah, from my side.
And as you said, it's a very good thing that you said. It's GameJam Plus is not about the game itself, but
Yeah.
the game itself as a prototype, as a ludic experience, but also as a product, as a commercial product that you need to, well, all of us game developers, at the end of the day, what do you want? What we want is our games be played by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if we don't know how to sell it and how to make people know about our games or play our games, it would be sad. Of course, it's fun to make the game itself, but it would be sad, and it's great when we can be able to make a lot of people around the world play our games. So this thing that you said, that GameJam Plus is talking about products, it's talking about marketing, producing, and other skills. It's one of the most interesting things in GameJam Plus, in my point of view, and I'm talking and seeing a lot of panels like this with another organizers that says the same thing. Wow, GameJam Plus is talking about products, not only game prototypes. So pass it over to Ido again. This unique thing about GameJam Plus format of event, what do you think it's the most important knowledge to people learn in GameJam Plus, and also what's your expected impact of GameJam Plus in Israel also? It's mute. Now it's you.
So first I want to answer the question from before. There seem to be 300 companies in Israel, more or less, and they earn about $2 million, and there are a few hundred people work in the industry. And about your question, so I think
just a step, just to compare, is even with the small country, is very similar to the size of Brazilian game industry in number of companies. Yeah, we have around from 300 to 400 companies here in Brazil. So it's a very similar in number of companies than we have here, even with this small territory. So just for you to know, it's very interesting. Yeah, pass through the next question.
So for me, I think if I have to choose one thing that is the most important to get from this, is to have this idea of what is your plan from the moment of the game design, and not to bring it later and how I make something with it. To have to be able to make the financial choices from the 0 point of the project. I think this is a very important skill to have as a game developer.
And well, we are talking about an event with hundreds and hundreds of voluntary people that it's driven on the idea of develop the community itself. So anyone here are getting any money to organizing it? We are all looking around the idea to foster this community, to develop this community. And my question is, why do you think there is these organizers, mentors, jury guys that are willing to work on this event just for sake of community and help each other? So why this willing to help, and why our industry there is a lot of people wanting to work to help the other?
My internet was a bit off. Can you repeat
No, the idea is there is a lot of people being voluntary working on Game Jam Plus, mentors,
Yeah.
organizers, a jury, and why people decided to work voluntary to help each other in the game industry. So why there is a lot of people engaged on make this for free and just spend 48 hours with barely no sleep, helping and sharing knowledge and this kind of stuff. Why do you do this?
So for me, I think that this is about wanting to, well, it's cheesy to say make the world better, but it's something like games are fun, and this in a way you can increase the fun level in the world, and especially now it feels like we are in a point that we can in a way break the boundaries between countries and just make a global community. And I think this inspire people with the problems that come with it, but I think people feel inspired and feel they want to encourage these changes that happen, and are happy to give from their time and their knowledge to help to make a strong community, global community. This is how I feel.
Sandra, you have any thoughts?
Sorry. Well, for me, I think that to answer your question, I think that for many of us, video games are a way to express ourselves. And in the development process of making a video game, you can learn a lot of things. Not only, I'm not talking only of design and programming, but there's also a way to, it's like telling your story to the world, right? So I think that a lot of people like us, we are willing to take part of this for free, like you said before, because we want that more people get to know this experience. Because it's not only about money, money comes later. The process of making this art is awesome, really. So the people you get to know, the things you can learn about making a video game, that's the real experience.
Very inspiring what you said. And Bhuvanesh and Tanu, you have any thoughts about it?
Well, like the mentors that we have specifically, a few of them are people that are judge panels or mentoring at the national events that we have here in India. They are pretty much people that are a part of the very actively, and for those people to actually invest their time, even if it's an hour, even if it's 2 hours, is a very big thing. And I think what drives them most is the fact that it gives India an opportunity to what do I say, who develop
Connect with
young talent that
other.
is there. Because I think at the end of the day, no matter how much experience you have, no matter where you come from, you never know what an idea might strike from or where an idea might strike from. It might come from a person, it might come from a small thing that a person said, did, or something like that. This gives you an opportunity to connect with random people who have their own sets of experiences, have their own sets of talents and knowledge, and connect with them, talk to them, listen to their stories, and you never know, you might get an idea from there, or you might actually end up liking that person, and you're like, you know what, let's collab together. I think that's I think a very important thing as well in industry. I think the mentors that we have seek that kind of a drive as well to help foster and help develop the community, so we can get out of the tag of India being the mobile market and actually start developing something that is on an indie level, that is on a AAA level. Because there is a lot of talent in India. I would say we lack funding. Our funding majority goes into mobile industries because that's good money for us.
Tanu, you have anything to add in this?
So like the mentors we hired, like this was the first time we are organizing, and it was like how could we like approach people, but luckily like the mentors were kind enough to give their time in spite of having their busy schedule. Like, this is, we explain them and they like set up meeting with us, and we really want to thank all the mentors to confirm and be a part of Game Jam Plus, because mentors part, he told, it's like really a big thing for us, because this internationally we are organizing something like this for the first time. So like, yeah, because usually it happens, so someone with no experience or nothing approaches you and you are like want to be part of it, people would have 50-50 thing in their mind, like whether to be a part or whether to not be a part. But I'm really glad all these mentors could be a part. And I would say, like, yeah, I also agree with Sandra's point. It's like not just about making money, it's about doing what you love. And as a child, I used to only play games. I never studied. If you see my marks, it was like decreasing. As I grew, my marks were literally decreasing. And being a woman in a gaming industry is very rare. First of all, in my class, like me and one other girl, we two were there into gaming. So it was kind of difficult. I won't say we faced a lot of sexism or something, but to take other, like to take girls seriously, like we can also achieve something or by doing games, that's a very rare thing. It's kind of a struggle, I feel, because first of all we have to convince our parents where in the industry we are, it's kind of male dominating, females are like increasing. So I just want to inspire the young girls, like, yeah, it's not just about going into technology or pursuing medical. Gaming can be fun. Like when people are bored, they play games, even just for 2 minutes. But game has become a part of daily life, just like watching TV or listening movies. So I just want to take gaming, at least from my side, to a next level where people won't be like, gaming is not just for wasting time, it's a entertainment purpose. And especially the girls, I would really want to do something to encourage young girls to get their career as a gaming. So yeah,
you say a really awesome thing that when a girl that love games and has a dream to making games and work in making games, see someone like you, Tanu or Sandra, organizing these events and say, oh, a girl can be a game developer. It's a very sexist, in fact, it's a really sexist industry, the tech industry as a whole, but I think there is some numbers in IGDA's researchers. Here in Brazil, we make a mapping of the industry, and it's something like 80% of game developers are male. So it's very cool to see women that are driven and being leaders of their communities. Also to make young girls look in these examples and say, oh, I can be a game developer too. So it's awesome that you said one of these effects of events like Game Jam Plus is say to people that, yeah, you can work. And when you say work is about have enough money to live comfortable, making games. And making games, it's a profession. It's something that you can live on. And also you can create and express, it's a term that Sander used, express yourself using games. So you can express things, you can tell histories, you can create universes. All of this is very fun to do, but also it's very important to put new talents in the game. So Game Jam Plus as a place to scout new talents, to know people. It happened here in Brazil. I had organized it 2 years ago, the São Paulo place of Game Jam Plus, and there is people that I never heard before, never seen before, doing very cool stuff, cool art, cool game designs, and very interesting ideas, and create this place to make new people, well, give highlight to these people that think that it's impossible to work on games. And also, as you said, the importance of mentors. So thank you everyone that accept this quest of being mentor in GameJam Plus, because this exchange of knowledge is very, very, very important. Well, just walk into the concluding of our conversation, sadly, because it's been very rich talking to you. There is a lot of people that has a kind of opposite thoughts about community. There are people that don't want to collaborate, don't want to share their ideas because some people can steal my ideas, and it's very competitive with those who are the neighbors of the industry. So I don't want to help another studio that is 50 kilometers from me or 2 steps from me. What you have to say for those who don't want to collaborate? What they are losing on not to collaborate, or don't wanting to collaborate, and for instance want to make a competition with the local scene?
You say something interesting, Pedro. There's a lot of people that think that, oh, my idea is the greatest idea of the whole world, and if I speak of it, someone is going to steal it. And for me, the ideas, only the idea is worth nothing without the execution. Worth nothing. So if you are not able to share with others, you're gonna miss the experience of another ideas and another collaborations that can make really good, like in this example of video games, right? I can think that I have the most wonderful idea of the world, but if I keep it to myself, it's gonna be there and worth nothing, right? The thing about this type of industry is a lot of teamwork, and keep the idea of the competition is not I think that you can think that another people is going to steal my idea and make rich out of it. It's a really wrong thing to think that in that kind of way, because you are going to lose a lot of experience with and collaboration with other people that can make great ideas and great experience and great product and great video games in this industry. So that's a lot of people that still think that way. But I think that these kind of events, these kind of meetings are gonna make that more people are changing the mindset of it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Someone have anything to add on this?
So
I know Ido. Talk, Ido.
Okay. So I feel that the game you make is about your passion, and first you don't have to wait until you have a finished game you want to share your experience with the world, but in the process you can share the passion with others. And 1 second.
Well, you can continue, Tano.
So
Ido, it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Sorry, Tano.
So I say about the second thing is that you will be challenged by the world. It will make your idea better the more you share it. So this is what I think.
Tanu?
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting between.
No problem.
Yeah. So what I think is, like, firstly, it's very important for everyone, like who doesn't like to share our ideas or something, to remember like who are we making games for? Is it for ourselves or is it for the world too? No. So if you consider that question, you'll get your answer automatically. We are making for the world, for our audiences, and it requires teamwork, team effort. You like, yeah, anyone can be a developer, artist, designer at a time, but you are investing your life into that. You won't have time to do extra activities or have fun. So it's better, I feel like you should share the ideas. I haven't made my like any game solo. I've always worked on group because I love working in groups and accepting what could be wrong and what could be added. So I think it's like instead of being so selfish about our ideas, and to be honest, if you think of an idea now, if like suppose for example I'm thinking of to make a space based game, and if I go and research, there already would be the game. So it's nothing about like stealing your idea, because this idea already exists in some different kind of thing. So there's no use of thinking ki, like no, I don't want to work with people, because so it's really important to connect with local communities. Like this is how I through Game Jam Plus I connected with Bhuvnesh. Before that we didn't knew each other. Like we are in the same city, still we didn't knew each other. So I guess communication and connecting with people, networking is really important.
And so this conversation actually we had amongst ourselves in the organizers, and we were like, what if someone has a nice idea, and let's just say a company next year produces the same idea and that becomes $1 million idea? What can we do then? How can we assure them that their idea won't be stolen? And the only conclusion I would say we came up to, and my friend actually messaged me this as well, that at the end of the day we are making games. It's not about competing with the other game. It's about making a game that is going to be fun for the audience that you are going to have it for. So if you are going to believe that your idea might be $1 million idea and someone might steal it, if you can come up with $1 million idea, I'm pretty sure you can come up with $100 million ideas. But if you miss on the opportunity to gain knowledge from someone, to gain ideas from someone, or to just discuss your idea, you might lose upon converting that $1 million idea into $1 billion idea. At the end of an idea is as simple as a father and a son going together on top of a mountain to drop the ashes of their mom. But Woody Barlock shared it with someone, and that's how it became God of War. The way you make a game. Now, this same idea, if I develop today, I might not end up making God of War, but he ended up making God of War. So an idea is just a piece of execution is what you're going to write on it. And unless and until that is there, the collaborative effort of hundreds of people is there, or probably 10 people is there, it's not going to be something very successful. Now, I don't mean to say that solo developers, don't make good games. Solo developers that have made good games. There are solo developers that have, delivered what they wanted to do. Like, I don't remember the Hammer and the Guy game. The whole point of the game was to create frustration, and he delivered that even being a solo developer. So there, of course, the possibility that one guy can come up with $1 billion idea. But what if he would have collaborated with someone else? Probably it would have been an even better idea. You never know unless and until you try and you get into that habit of communicating, sharing ideas. That's how a game is made. I personally believe a game cannot be made solo. You need thousands of opinions to finalize something upon. To finalize on a mechanic, you need thousands of things.
It's very cool, very inspiring, all you said, and I think we can summarize it. It's dangerous to go alone, so take this, take this idea to be our +1 in Game Jam Plus, getting together in the community, and we need this. So creative talents need to be exposed to different people, to get your own ideas opposed to another ideas, to another creative minds. So it's so rich, that change that can be born from this this community, that is a shame those who don't want to take in part of it. So if you want to take in part of it, be our +1 in any of these places. See what is the closest place of Game Jam Plus to your city. Maybe in your city there is a place, and if there is any place close to you, try to gather people to be the organizer of next year, because we need more places making Game Jam Plus happen all over the world. So I want to ask you to one of the last questions is why you recommend to people participate Game Jam Plus and also organize Game Jam Plus. You can start, Sandra. You can start.
Okay. Well, like I said before, these are the opportunities to connect, to make network with people all around the world. And there's a lot of people, like Tanu said before, there are still like scared to enter in this industry. And well, we were talking about a lot of girls and women, right? But in general, because I have met young people that said that I don't know how to program, I don't know how to design, but there's not only programmers and designers in video games, there's a lot of multidisciplinary things you can do. So these kind of events are an invitation for that people to take away their fears and adventures in something really enrichment like the game industry. And these events are a great opportunity to be part of it.
Awesome. Bhuvanesh, you want to say about it?
Yeah, like that's at the end. That's the primary thing. Like, be a participant, be an organizer, be a mentor. Is giving you the opportunity to connect with other people from different forties or different things. But if you're gonna miss out on the opportunity, then you're gonna miss out on possibly something big. So why not just take the risk and be a part of something that will be something very good to you at the end of the day, because it's at the end of the day going to help you connect more with more people. It'll help you foster your own skills.
Also, Ido?
So I think if you want something to happen, if you want, you sometimes just have to do it. And I want Israel to join this amazing community of countries, and I think we all want to challenge ourselves and become better. And so this is why you should push yourself and just connect and do what you believe should be done.
So, and at least but not less important, Tanu?
So likewise, like to end, I would just say at the end, we all are just passionate about game. So like it's a great thing to come together, collaborate, and it's not like the organizers, the participants, everyone at the end is wanna explore game industry and take it to the next level. So like it's said, Rome wasn't built in a day. So this would be a start. This would be just a base. So in future, I would really like Game Jam Plus growing worldwide, and come to a next level, so that people recognize everyone's effort, each and every single person's effort, and it's just only one motive to increase and to get the gaming community into next level. So yeah.
And if you want to participate in this awesome event, you're seeing people that are very, very engaged on Game Jam Plus. Please look on the local place of the event. But also, if you want help in any way, the organization of Game Jam Plus, as we said, there is a lot of volunteerism. Is not there's a lot of people wanting to help this community, and we have a crowdfunding for Game Jam Plus in Catarse. So we're gonna put this crowdfunding in the link of live chat, catarse.me/Game Plus. I think it's something like that. But well, you're gonna see the link in any place in social media of Game Jam Plus, in a live chat of Game Jam here in the YouTube. So help us to make this event possible, and make more people around the world participate in this event, because at the end of the day, it's an industry that is about people, not about technology, not about money. It's about people. So if you want to take part of this industry, and you want to purchase your dream to make games, or even if you had already achieved your dream on living on making games, taking part of this community and gather together with people, it's very, very important. So be our +1. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Edu. Thank you, Tanu. Thank you, Bhuvanesh. It was awesome, very inspiring to talk with you guys. If you have any word to all of us to finish.
Thank you for this amazing opportunity. It's a pleasure to be part of this.
Thank you for having us. It really means a lot.
Yeah,
And like connecting to everyone in this panel, it was nice, you know, being with you all, being a part of this panel.
Yes, thank you a lot for the invitation and for the opportunity.
Thanks for giving us a platform to community in our local ecosystem as well.
And thank everyone that is watching us, even a recorded version of this talk. It was really nice to be here with you. And I hope to see you again, Sandra, Ido, Bhuvanesh, and Tanu, in person after this pandemic. I really wanted to know these people, and in events all over the world. We need to, and the thing that I'm most happy on Game Jam Plus is to know people like you. So thank you, and see you then. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fala, galerinha! Eu sou o Cristiano Torreão, dublador do Lupus de Grand Chase, do Jarvan IV de League of Legends, do nosso queridíssimo Junkrat de Overwatch e do Azaf de Uncharted Lost Legacy, entre outros personagens. Galerinha, eu tô aqui para convidar vocês para um evento especialíssimo, vocês não podem perder. É o Esquenta da GAMEJAM+2020. É isso aí, galera. E no dia 8 de outubro eu vou estar lá, num painel especialíssimo, junto com o Marcelo Figueiredo, CEO da Radioativa Game Sound. E nós vamos falar do quê? Nós vamos falar sobre trilha sonora original e voz original para jogos. É isso aí, galerinha. A gente vai falar sobre o processo de construção das trilhas e do processo, dos conceitos para a escolha das vozes dos personagens dos games, tanto em inglês quanto em português. Então, é um painel imperdível, feito para você que é super curioso em conhecer como é feita a dublagem e como é feita a trilha sonora para jogos. Dia 8 de outubro, a partir das 18h30, horário de Brasília, eu e Marcelo Figueiredo, junto com vocês na Game Jam Plus 2020. Espero vocês lá.